The lover sent to Detour your destiny. Zara had everything planned. After years of preparation, she was 3 weeks away from launching the wellness center that would bring ancient healing traditions to her community. The business plan was solid, investors secured, location renovated, and practitioners hired. This wasn't just a business venture, it was her soul's purpose unfolding, the vision that had guided her 3 years of study and sacrifice. That's when Daniel appeared. Their meeting at the local farmers market seemed orchestrated by the universe itself. He reached for the same bundle of sage she'd been eyeing, their fingers brushing against each other with a jolt of electricity that made them both pause. "You first," he smiled, the sunlight catching his eyes in a way that made her heart stutter. Within moments, they were deep in conversation about energy healing, both shocked at how their spiritual paths aligned. He understood concepts she'd struggled to explain to others. He practiced the same rare meditation technique she'd discovered during her travels in Tibet. He even carried the same unusual crystal in his pocket that she wore around her neck. "This can't be coincidence," he said, voicing what she was thinking. "Some connections are arranged by forces beyond our understanding." The pull between them was undeniable, almost supernatural in its intensity. When he talked about his own spiritual journey, she found herself leaning forward, drinking in his words. When he touched her arm to emphasize a point, the sensation lingered long after his hand moved away. By their third date, Zara found herself sharing details of her wellness center, the culmination of her life's work to this point. Daniel listened with such perfect understanding that tears formed in his eyes. "This is exactly what the world needs," he said, reaching for her hand. What an incredible vision. 2 weeks before her scheduled opening, Daniel proposed a spontaneous trip to a spiritual retreat in Sedona. "You need to clear your energy before this massive launch," he insisted. 3 days away will help you return centered and aligned." Something in her hesitated. The timeline was tight, final details still needed attention, but his conviction was persuasive. "The universe brought us together for a reason," he reminded her. "Trust the timing." 3 days stretched into a week as Daniel revealed new spiritual experiences each time she mentioned returning. The texts from her business partner grew increasingly urgent, but Daniel helped her craft responses that bought more time. "Your team needs to learn to function without you anyway," he reasoned. Consider this a test of their commitment. When she finally returned, 2 weeks later than planned, she found chaos. A pipe had burst in the wellness center, damaging expensive equipment. The main investor had pulled out after repeated unanswered calls. 3 practitioners had accepted other positions, assuming the project was delayed indefinitely. As Zara surveyed the devastation of her dream, Daniel was surprisingly calm. "Perhaps this is the universe telling you the timing isn't right," he suggested. "Everything happens for a reason." That evening, he presented an alternative. Join him in his healing collective in another state. "Your vision was beautiful but limited," he explained. "With me, you could reach so many more people. We could travel together, teach workshops, build something mobile rather than tied to one location." The offer was tempting, especially with her original plan in shambles. Daniel's conviction never wavered, his certainty about their cosmic connection acting as a beacon when her own light flickered with doubt. It was her grandmother who noticed first, during a video call from across the country. "Who is dimming your fire?" she asked abruptly, cutting through Zara's explanation about redirected purpose and divine timing. "No one," Zara defended. "Daniel supports my spiritual growth completely." "There's a difference between supporting growth and redirecting rivers," her grandmother replied. "Tell me, child, is your soul singing or straining in this new direction?" The question lingered for days, awakening something that had been gradually sedated by Daniel's constant spiritual reassurances. When she mentioned reviving her original vision, rebuilding on a smaller scale, perhaps his response was immediate and uncharacteristically harsh. "That path has closed," he stated firmly. "We've been shown a better way." Returning to that limited vision would be spiritual regression. During a rare afternoon alone while Daniel attended a sound healing workshop, Zara found herself drawn to the small altar she'd created years ago, before meeting him. Among her sacred objects was a journal filled with her original visions for the wellness center, detailed plans, inspired ideas, the pure essence of her purpose before it had been reinterpreted through another's lens. As she read her own words, written in moments of clear connection to her highest guidance, something cracked open inside her. These weren't just business plans, they were sacred downloads, specific instructions for her unique contribution. And they looked nothing like the nomadic workshop vision Daniel had been sculpting. That night, she asked the question that had been forming in her subconscious. Daniel, what was your life path before we met? What vision were you pursuing? His hesitation was brief but telling, nothing specific. I was exploring possibilities. Further gentle questioning revealed the pattern. Daniel had been drifting between spiritual communities for years, temporarily adopting the ambitions of others before moving on. He had no central purpose of his own. His gift was in recognizing the spark in others and attaching himself to it, redirecting that energy to serve his need for meaning and direction. The revelation wasn't dramatic but clarifying, like fog lifting from a familiar landscape. Daniel hadn't been sent to help her fulfill her destiny. He had been diverting her river to water his desert. Their separation was quieter than their meeting, no cosmic fireworks, just the gentle but firm reclamation of her original vision. Daniel's attempts to use spiritual concepts to regain influence, warnings about karmic consequences, and refusing divine redirection fell flat against her renewed clarity. 6 months later, as Zara cut the ribbon on her wellness center, smaller than originally planned but pulsing with authentic purpose, she understood the lesson completely. Not every profound connection is divinely orchestrated for your highest good. Not every person who speaks your spiritual language is sent to help you fulfill your purpose. Some connections, no matter how intense or seemingly synchronized, are tests of discernment rather than cosmic gifts sent not to accelerate your journey but to determine if you can be diverted from it. The most dangerous detours don't announce themselves with warning signs. They appear as perfect reflections of your deepest desires, speaking the exact language of your soul's longing, mirroring your light so convincingly that you don't notice them, slowly turning your vessel in another direction. True alignment doesn't demand abandonment of purpose, it enhances the path you are already divinely inspired to walk.